Have you ever wanted to explore the stars in the comfort of your own spaceship? Have you ever wanted to bring justice to a lawless society of gangs and bureaucrats? Have you ever wanted to meet some hot singles in your area? If you have answered yes to any of these questions, I got some bad news for you. But you can get an approximate experience with this, with Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Star Wars Bounty Hunter is a game where you play as burgeoning New Zealand actor Tamora Morrison as he's looking for his breakout role in the American market. Since he's between gigs, he's decided to moonlight as a bounty hunter, as it's far more profitable than being a ticket reseller or an OF creator. Unfortunately for him, he hasn't caught the attention of just any Hollywood producer or director, but instead the attention of Christopher Lee and Ian McDiarmid, as a candidate to be the template for the new clone army. As Palpatine wants to continue his grand plan to conquer the entire galaxy through the military-industrial complex and the central banking system. Unlike other media that lies about its premise and then pulls the rug from under you once it has your money, Bounty Hunter does exactly what it says on the cover, and for the next 8 to 10 hours, you are the man himself, Jango Fett.
Take me and maybe I won't blast you.
There's no 2 to 3 hour introduction with a tile drop at the end of it. There's no annoying small companions that follow you through this entire game. There's no yellow paint that's been smeared all over the walls that looks like SpongeBob had a case of explosive diarrhea. Quite frankly, with how linear this game is, I'd be surprised if anyone got lost in these levels. The game gives you your target, it gives you an arsenal, and a firm smack on the ass while telling you to have fun. And if any civilian wants to get in between you and your payday, well, we don't call that collateral damage, we call that target practice. Should we really be testing a flamethrower in a highly populated street at night? That was a rhetorical question. Yes, of course we should. I'm legally blind wearing this helmet. On your journey, you'll go from hunting down targets from underworld drug lords and politicians to crime kingpins and cult leaders that are hell-bent on fixing the galaxy of corruption. But those larger bounties are few and far between, and we need to make rent today. Each of these secondary bounties has a unique reason as to why there's a price on their head, such as running away from indentured servitude, being a crooked prison guard, or dressing like this. Not even George would have signed off on that. And that New Balance wearing genius signed off on this.
Force is strong in my family. My sister has it.
Somehow, I've always known.
Each secondary bounty has a unique payout based on whether you bring them back in dead or alive. Sometimes they're worth more dead, sometimes alive. Some targets are only wanted dead or only wanted alive, and will only pay out if you bring them back in as specified per contract. Speaking from personal experience, I like to bring in all my targets alive and imagine that Jango is just giving these people a second chance at life, as they are slowly being beaten or tortured to death by the crack dealer that put a price on their head. You'll be tracking down all of your targets through a variety of different environments and locations, such as Coruscant's seedy underworld, its pristine upper levels, space stations with battle arenas, Vietnam, crack dens, the Middle East, and a haunted moon inhabited by the homeless population of San Francisco. You shouldn't have alerted the Horde. It's too late now. Good luck. But even a professional needs some downtime, and Jango understands better than anyone else that there's no better way to spend this than with some fellow female entrepreneurs. I see she wasn't too tied up this evening. Sadly, this is not the space baddie we are looking for. This is...
Congratulations, Bounty Hunter. You found me. Now tell me, who hired you?
After calling for a meeting of the High Council and several days of debate and deliberation, I regret to inform you, I cannot fix her.
Bring me their bodies.
She's perfect. In this line of work, however, instincts can only take you so far. Sure, you could track down your target to the point you know what hand they wipe their ass with, but if they have a bigger gun, well, you can kiss that roll and Attack of the Clones goodbye. Fortunately, the developers over at LucasArts understood the assignment and that the true star of this show is the Arsenal. You can see exactly where all the love in this game went. Dual pistols, flamethrowers, grenades, jetpack mounted rockets, miniguns, poison darts, And if all else fails, good old hand-to-hand combat after snoring some of the galaxy's finest with the help of a fellow female entrepreneur. Of course, this is all dependent on whether or not the targeting system wants to work, as half the time it wants to flick me around all over the place while I'm getting shot at in multiple directions, which leads to me dying and losing one of the 5 lives I have per level. And if you lose all of your lives, you have to go to the start of the level and do it all over again while collecting all of your secondary bounties and all of your secrets all over again. And while we're on the subject of criticisms about this game, actually, give me a minute, I'm gonna go dig up the corpse of LucasArts so we can flail it. What brain-rotted dumbass did you pull off the streets to program this AI? Sure, when they're firing at you, it's fine, average, C+. But when it comes to a little thing I call spatial awareness, they're the kind of special reserved for the back of the short bus. The amount of times I have seen NPCs just walk right off platforms and into the abyss where they continue to fire at you while not noticing the change in scenery is astronomical. It doesn't help their case that some of these guys are optional bounties you need for 100% completion. Because if I just miss one of these things, my collectathon gamer brain is not going to give me a dose of the happy joy juice. This is the worst episode of Dog the Bounty Hunter. He ain't gonna catch shit! And speaking of things that made me want to reenact the Battle of Iwo Jima on the doorstep of LucasArts, the Death Stick Factory. Jesus Christ, take the wheel and deliver me to the pearly gates, if that means I never have to play this level again. Did you let the guy who programmed the AI design this level? Because this is the most accurate rendition of a drug farm I have ever seen in any video game. As safety here is not the standard, it's a suggestion. Tons of enemies, tons of platforming, tons of bounties that will walk off said platforms, and very few checkpoints in between everything. By the end of this level, I was genuinely asking if the AI was getting high off their own supply, or if this was just a natural case of stupidity. Actually, sit down and perk an ear. I'm gonna save you a headache, your blood pressure, and your hairline. When you're in the main menu, go to the code screen and type in 1,000,000 more to get 99 lives per level. It'll make the pain of getting through some of these levels much more bearable. Now, some of you might be thinking, wow, isn't that considered cheating? Which is a fair point. However, I'd like for you to consider the following argument. Pipe down or go practice your swan dive with the AI. If the developers didn't want me to use it, they wouldn't have programmed in a code menu in the first place. I didn't even tell you about all the other codes you can use to unlock all the levels, all the bonus content, or the Boba Fett outfit you get by beating the game. Yeah, bonus content from beating a game. What is this, the 1990s? Can you believe LucasArts left at least $5 to $10 worth of a day one DLC on the disc? Georgie Boy himself did this because he loves you, but you didn't appreciate it, and look where that got you. Also, if you ever want to experience what PTSD like is for a Vietnam veteran, go play the jungle levels. They give you a good idea of what it's like. By the end of the game, you'll be going through various platforming challenges while fending off from hordes of GTA fanboys. After completing this entire game, I can see why Django was chosen to be the clone template. Because if I had to go through any of these levels, even if I had the ability to use the Force and a lightsaber, gun to my head, I'm joining LucasArts in that grave. By the end of the game, we give our new Space Golf GF some quick chiropractic work. Oh. Django accepts the offer to become the clone template, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. I said bright future, not long future. I'll be honest, the more I play this game, the more it makes me yearn for a proper open-world GTA, Saints Row style Star Wars game. All of the pieces are already there. Multiple planets to explore, multiple gangs to work with or betray, and multiple weapons to use in your arsenal. However, with modern Lucasfilm and Disney at the head, we can rest assured knowing that this game will never happen. And if the game ever does get greenlit by Disney, it'll probably be made by Ubisoft or EA and then monetized so hard your wallet will report you to Child Protective Services. What, did you expect this to be a charity? Disney spent $4 billion on this in 2012 money, and they still haven't made their money back, and Star Wars under them is culturally dead. But no matter what the House of Mouse churns out, they'll never be able to take away the memories of the pre-Disney era of Star Wars. A time when Star Wars fans didn't complain about everything. A time when new additions to the lore were met with fanfare, and any criticism of new additions to the lore were always met with the utmost respect.